You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS. That was Paul McCartney and Wings. Let Me Roll It. Before that was Urge Overkill, Sister Havana. Joe Mantegna.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Where you from, Chicago?
I am from Chicago.
How long you been at? You don't still live there, though, do you?
No. I moved out to California in '78, so I've been here probably longer than I was in Chicago.
Yeah, me too. I've been here longer than I've been in England.
Yeah.
35 years.
And it happens like, as you probably agree with me, it happens like overnight. Like, in other words, you blink and... I remember reading it once. I'm trying to think what author it was. Pretty famous authors talked about California. It might have been Ernest Hemingway. No, maybe it was F. Scott Fitzgerald. He says it comes to he says you can't gauge time out here because there's no seasons.
Yeah.
So he says I sat on a chair on the beach and I blinked and it was 30 years later.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like when you have the seasons that kind of it tends to lengthen the year, but when it's endless summer, it all blends together.
Well, I definitely know this stage of the game, time flies by.
Oh man, yeah.
Regardless where I am.
Right.
So you obviously, well, I don't know this, but you obviously came here originally because of the old entertainment business.
Yes and no. I mean, in other words, I thought if you're going to be in the entertainment business, you need to be kind of maybe one of three places at the time. Like I was in Chicago, which was okay. You reached a certain level, though, back in the 70s, and it seemed like you either had to go to either New York or L.A. So I went to New York. I did some theater there, worked on Broadway and stuff like that. But to tell you the truth, it was going to Italy for the first time and visiting my relatives there. And that was like in 1975. And when I got there, I thought, oh, man, this is where my chromosomes and genes belong. In other words, I really felt something in my body. Like, no wonder I hate winter.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not genetically set up to live anywhere but someplace that's kind of like this kind of environment. And so then I was on tour with this theater company I was with, the Organic Theater Company out of Chicago, in 1977. We came out here late fall, and it was a day like today. And it was like, and I'd just been to Italy, just like I say, a year or so before. And I was like, okay, this obviously, Southern California is as close you're going to get to Italy in this country. So I said to myself, I told my wife, I says, you know what, we got to give California a shot. I don't know about you, but I really feel...
Yeah.
Because to me, environment's important. In other words, you
time.
can work anywhere. You go work where you're going to go work. But I thought to myself, if I'm going to be in show business, they do show business here, last I looked. So let's give this place a shot. And I haven't regretted any of it. I still love it here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm not as crazy about hot weather as I used to be. I like in mid-70s.
No, right. Well, that's why I also bought a place on the beach, too. So, to kind of satisfy that thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty temperate out there all the time. And so it's great. Yeah, no, I don't like real hot weather either. But I would prefer desert to tropical. I was never never was going to move to like Florida or something. I love Florida in the winter, but the humidity, that doesn't do it for me. So
you like Palm Springs?
Palm Springs is great in the winter. Yeah, I don't like it in the summer. It's a little too hot, but it's great in the winter. Yeah, that's what I love about California. You want snow, you go up to the mountains. You want, water, you go to the ocean.
Yeah.
You want sand, you go to the desert. You have those options. In Chicago, we didn't have those options.
Yeah.
You wanted snow, you just waited. You waited a minute.
Yeah. Did that lake ever freeze up? Was it possible?
I don't think it ever froze across. No, like totally frozen, but it would freeze. I mean, if you're on the shore and it would freeze out enough that you're not going to, it's of no use to you.
Yeah.
Unless you're an icebreaker.
Yeah.
So, no.
Why do you think people put up with extreme weathers like New York and that? Why do you think...
I think it's family part of it. I think it's where your parents or your generations have settled down. But maybe part of it is genetics. Now my wife she's mainly like Czechoslovakian and from that part of the world genetically, and she loves all the snow and she likes when it gets cold and all that. And I think about it, and I think people who are a little more Nordic. Especially people like from Denmark or Sweden or whatever, with the blue eyes, the blonde hair, the paler complexion. Yeah, but nobody ever mistook me for like a Swedish sea captain. I'm definitely more Mediterranean
Maybe a
oriented.
Greek.
Yeah, Greek, right? I could handle Greece. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So, there's a place for everybody.
So, you're still doing Criminal Minds?
I am. This is my 10th season.
10th.
And the show's been on 12 years. This is the 12th season of the show, my 10th season with the show. And yeah, still cooking, still going. Yeah, I still like it. It's a good place to go every day. Good place to work. Good people. I think we work hard to try to do a good show, and I think the fact that we're closing in on 300 episodes means we must be doing something right. And one I directed actually airs tonight. I've directed this. I think maybe my fourth or my fifth episode I've directed. So it's given me the opportunity to do different things and to.
You like directing?
I do. I do like it, but
You're in it. You're in it too.
I'm in it too, and so it becomes, it's like becoming you're the general of the army, and you're also leading the army, and so it's like, it's something that if you're going to do it every day, you better be maybe younger than I am.
It's on you, right?
It's on you, but I do enjoy it, and so I do a couple per season, do a couple episodes a season, and I like doing it. But again, it's been great. It's a great environment. It's a very much a they always make that comment, we're like a family, we're like a family. Everybody talks about that. But it's true. You spend that many years and many hours working with people, you become a family.
Yeah.
You try to keep it hopefully as functional as possible. And it's all good.
Now that's a long time. Normally shows burn out after about 7 seasons. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, 7. Boy, you were lucky to do 7.
Yeah.
I'd probably say the average is probably 3, my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, you compare it to music. Some bands just keep going, and some are gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And then, and there's some that'll just kind of linger in there somewhere in the middle section.
Do you ever? So you go every day, basically, unless you're not working.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it is I know where I'm going to go. That I'm going to go home at night. And at this point in my career, I mean, I've been at this over 40 years. I like to be able to go home at night.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to have control over knowing where I'm at 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Where before, look, I had a great life. I've had a great life, great career. And I've got 2 children. They're grown up now. And they've traveled the world with me, them and my wife. We've gone everywhere from Russia and Australia and Europe and Canada and all over the United States. And this occupation has taken me all over the world, places I would never have dreamed of going had I not had the job I have.
Yeah.
But it comes to a point where you say to yourself, you know what? I'd like to do that maybe on my own time, as opposed to being told, okay, here's where you're going next month, or here's where you're going to be going 3 months from now.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy this lifestyle. I enjoy what I'm doing now. And I still have the opportunity 3 months out of the year to kind of do what I want to do and go where I want to go.
So when you're working all the time, pardon, do you have time to watch other shows, different shows, or you don't bother at night? You're exhausted.
I'm not a real, you know what? I can't even remember the last time I was in a movie theater. I'm
What about like, at home, Netflix and all that?
well, even that. I'm not I watch reruns of things that are, I still watch Seinfeld reruns. I mean, this is my idea of like hanging out at home, or if I'm not watching either sports or the news or the travel channel to see some cooking shows, or Anthony Bourdain or something like that. I'm not a real. It's like Busman's Holiday. The idea of watching a dramatic television show, or any sort of television show. I mean, there's a lot of good television out there, but it's not my idea of a good time. Just sit in a chair and watch something.
Yeah.
I'd rather be out doing something.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it, because I'm on a set so often. That's not my idea of but I'm glad to provide the entertainment for everybody else.
Yeah.
Though.
Talking about food.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
What
we
you
own
got?
a restaurant. Well, yeah, we own a restaurant called Taste Chicago in Burbank. We've had for many years. And food's big for me. I mean, being Italian, come on. I think,
Forget about it.
it's arguable that we invented food. I don't know. But
Such a great invention, food.
yeah, no kidding.
The best.
My relatives in Italy, my cousin owns what they call an agriturismo, which they take a farm, they turn it into a resort. And it's in this region of Puglia, which is in the south, across from Naples, on the Adriatic side of Italy. And I mean, the food there is like, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I could just, I could
real
just sit
food.
there and they just bring the food and you eat it and you just say to yourself, this is not a bad place to kind of live and die, if you had to. So, but yeah, the taste buds are a good thing. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
I know.
Now I'm talking to guys on drinking juice for
Killing
the last
myself.
few days.
I'm killing myself.
I feel guilty even talking about it with you.
So, ain't there another? So, 10 years you've been doing this in Burbank.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking at your list here. See, was you related to Mario at the
Yes.
Rainbow?
Yes, that's my uncle. My Uncle Mario at the Rainbow and Whiskey Go. He owns the Whiskey Go.
I love Mario.
I
I
the
used
Silver
to
Fox.
Yeah. Is he still smoking cigars? Oh, yeah.
He may have. Yeah, he might throw in the occasional cigar. But the guy, I mean, God bless him. He's over 90.
Yeah.
He's my Aunt Scarlett, his wife, and it's an incredible family. I mean, he's Mr. Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember when I first moved out here in '78, I had lunch with him. He's like saying, "Joey, so what can I do for you? Come on, what do you want? You think maybe on the side he'd give me a job as a busboy in a restaurant, maybe or something." But he was so wonderful and so, he's still old school. He's from Chicago too, so he's still old school Chicago. But I said, "No, I'm cool, Uncle Mario." And now, ironic, I actually have a house that we can see each other. He's up in the Hollywood Hills there, and I've got a house up in the hills, and we can actually, if I go on my porch and he goes on his, on our decks, we can kind of like wave to each other, which we've actually done in the past. I mean, I'm not up at that house all the time, but when I am, I always.
Is that the house he's got with the pillars out by the pool?
Yeah, it's the one. It looks like a Greek kind of.
Yeah.
I remember when I first visited it, he was showing me around, and he says, "Yeah, and down there is Sinatra's house." He kind of like pointing down the hill, letting me know he was kind of above everybody, which he kind of is. But he deservedly so. He's definitely Mr. Sunset Boulevard, and I love Mario.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he knows everybody in rock and roll. I mean, everybody knows him.
Everyone goes in the Rainbow. He used to hang outside there every night. He was outside there.
Oh, I was there once when he wanted to. He literally beat the hell out of a pimp, is what happened, because somebody came in. We were in the restaurant, eating dinner at the Rainbow, and one of the workers came in and says, "Mario, this is 25 years ago." He says, "So and so, some guy was hanging out front, and apparently he was a pimp that was kind of trying to solicit some of the, because the kind of girls that were going to that place, especially during that time.
Preacher's daughters."
And he says, "God," and he had a cane at the time. He'd hurt his knee or something at the time. But Mario must have been, he's probably in his late 60s then, early 70s. He gets up, and I followed him out, and he goes outside, and the guy's just hanging. The guy was just hanging there, but he was just making his presence known. Mario grabbed him, kind of pulled him up against the building, said, "You son of a." If I catch you around here again, he said, words I can't really say on the radio.
Yeah.
But he let the guy know, and the guy was like, "Oh man, hey," and it was like, that was it. And I thought, wow, this is old school Chicago on Sunset Boulevard, great. And then we went back in and into the kitchen and had a nice meal.
Yeah.
But that's how you survive on Sunset Boulevard.
That's it, mate. Spent many a hour in and outside the Rainbow.
Yeah, I worked with Cher. I did a movie with Cher, Suspect, years ago, and it somehow came up a conversation when I mentioned Mario. She's like, "Oh, Mario!" And it was great.
He's even got the right name, Mario.
Yes, exactly.
Let's play some music. Yes, you're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox with Joe Mantegna, and we're going to play some Mink DeVille, Spanish Stroll. Take it away.